where we have our successful entrepreneur, Mrs. Anuradha Sriram, who is the co-founder and a joint managing director of Integra Software Services, a 2000 plus employee company. She is working, uh, she is the co-founder of Integra Software Services, and this is headquartered in Pondicherry. Integra is one of the top digital e-learning content service provider to the publishing industry globally and serves some of the Fortune 500 companies. It is spread over three countries: US, UK, and India. Blessed with a strong entrepreneur streak, Anuji, who is a BA in electronics and an MBA, started Integra in her hometown, Pondicherry, 25 years ago, along with her husband, Mr. Sriram Subramaniam. She wanted to provide employment opportunities to the local talent in her hometown and put Pondicherry on the global map of BPO companies. A champion for women's rights and privileges, Anuji launched a special initiative at Integra called Shakti Oli, the Radiance of Women Power, which is a task force for the empowerment of women to develop and empower women employees of Integra. A big list runs over Anuji's achievement. The few milestones which I would like to share about her journey towards her objectives are 51.45% of workforce are women. 85% of women get back to work after the maternity. Of the total employees promoted, 25% of women have moved to the next level at the managerial level. Also, under her leadership, Integra has received NASSCOM Corporate Award for Excellence in Gender Inclusivity, as more than 60% of its employees are women. I welcome you, Anuji, to give your insights of your successful journey.
Yeah, good afternoon. So very happy to be here. Thanks to Dr. Uma, Marcelin, and my friend Vijay who got me in here. Happy to speak to all the participants. Uma requested me to share my entrepreneurial journey as well as talk about some of the challenges and some other opportunities in the services sector. So I just thought I will talk about my early days, which may be more relevant for all of you. And I was born in a typical middle class family. I was born as the second girl child. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I was born as the second girl child, and you can imagine in those days, whoever came to see my mom had a very sad look on their face, and it was my paternal grandfather who encouraged my mom, saying, "Do you want 100 sons like Duryodhana, or you want a daughter like Savitri?" So of course I was blessed. My mom was educated, so they encouraged me in education. So I was blessed, and I should say I always had this inspiration to start something on my own. In fact, I remember during my engineering days attending one of the bank's program on entrepreneurship, something like this I had attended, which actually seeded was a seed in this entrepreneurial venture. So I think you're all taking a good step by attending programs such as this. So after my engineering, of course, I got married to Sriram, and Sriram was working in Bangalore. So I also started working in the IT industry at that time. And after 2 years, I think couple of years, his company decided to start a greenfield project in Pondicherry, and that's how we came back. And Pondicherry happened to be my hometown. So in fact, those days I used to tell him that you cheated me, got me married. I thought I'm going to live in Bangalore. When you're a young girl, you want to live in those big cities, and now I'm back in my hometown. But it actually proved to be a blessing in disguise, because there are not much job opportunities, and it accelerated our entrepreneurial journey. And so I remember we looked at various opportunities, and we started with something called desktop publishing those days. We looked at primarily the student market. I remember those days when I was a student, how difficult it was to get our thesis done. So I think many of the ideas come from our own experiences, the kind of problems which we face, so which we are able to relate. So that is how we started Integra. And we became a kind of back office for the local university, the distance education department of Pondicherry University. So their entire course material was prepared by Integra. I should also say, when Integra, in fact, I remember when the loan for Integra was sanctioned, I think I was in the hospital for the delivery of my first son. So when I came home, it was like having twins. One was Integra and one was my son. So the first 2 years, we decided that at least one of us have to work. And so Sriram, though he was fully involved, he used to support in the evenings and during the weekends. And so, of course, being a women entrepreneur, there were initial challenges. Even the house owner, the building owner was very reluctant whether we'll pay the rent on time. So we had to use recommendation. The bank, unlike the banks nowadays, they wanted lot of collaterals and guarantees, so I had to get my cousin to give the guarantee. So, and those days, you know, there is no telephone connection, internet, so lot of challenges. I remember I used to go in my two-wheeler, my sister's two-wheeler, because all the money went into Integra. So two-wheeler, and it was an old one, and wherever it used to stop, then I used to call the mechanic to get it repaired. Why I'm saying is, we had very humble beginnings, and second year onwards, of course, we started expanding. We got our I think first global client, and then there was no looking back. Of course, it took a few years to break even, so we had to sell our jewelry. So, but I used that to my advantage. I said I sold the jewelry, so now I have to have the opportunity to buy whatever I want, just on the lighter side. So it needed a lot of sacrifices during the initial years. I remember especially there was one person who was very skilled artist, and he used to do one particular customer's work, a magazine which used to come monthly. And I remember the next, the day before he stopped coming, that day evening he called and said he's going on leave. He taught me in a couple of hours how to do that work, and the next day he didn't turn up. So that's how in the initial days you need to be hands-on. You need to know all the skills needed to run the business yourself, because you still don't have a team. You need to keep the customers happy. And since I'm talking here part of SIDBI, I remember the one of the first 2 years we did, the SIDBI was one of our customers, so we did some of the books for them. So, but of course, from some books on some loans and various information brochures. But after a couple of years, we found that there was a big opportunity in the publishing industry. And so where we could do the books and journals for publishers abroad. So we work with publishers like McGraw-Hill, some of the names which are familiar in India, McGraw-Hill, Pearson, all of them, we do a lot of work for them. So initial years, of course, it was all basic work which used to come to us. Like we used to do the typing, because those days manuscripts used to be handwritten or typed, sent using a typewriter. So we'll type the same manuscript twice and check for accuracy, then do the basic layout, and then take the printout in laser printouts, and then and for some reason we were under the chemical processing, because we used to send export films those days. So we were under the chemical processing department for our exports. So that used to be a lot of fun. But of course, India has changed a lot over the last couple of decades. Then so we started, we are not from a business family, so it was for me and Sriram to learn how to do business development. We learned it all by ourselves, making those mistakes. For example, I mean, most of business gets done over lunch or dinner or over networking. So those were new skills which we learned. And of course, though initially we were privately funded, then we raised private equity, then we had a very professional board also, some yeah, independent directors. So with the company, as we grew, became more and more professional. And I also think I just want, so like what they have told, so from 5 member today we have crossed 2,000 employees, and more than 50% are women, and we have offices in US, UK, as well as in India, 2 centers. Pondicherry continues to be our primary delivery center, as well as in Chennai we have our delivery center. So like I said, there were a lot of challenges in the initial years. So we had to compete with some of the global brands, and at every stage there is a new challenge. So we need to constantly invest in R&D. We need to constantly innovate. We need to constantly deliver value to our customers. And so, of course, the next part was building a team of people who are able to scale, who help us in scaling the operations, and who are able to take larger responsibilities, growing in people internally. So I love mentoring people internally and to see them excel in leadership position. So those are the next level of what takes priority. And of course, right now, a few years back, it was digital transformation. So where most of the content is now digital and interactive, and education is no longer just in a book format. It's in multimedia, it's in various modes. So we have to adapt, and now we are able to deliver all these services to our customers. And of course, now we are in the journey to transforming the company into a product or platform-based company, where not alone services, where we are able to offer software products and platforms to our customer. And so I just thought I will take some time to also share some of my perspectives for the budding entrepreneurs today. So I think it is important that you do your market research. You're coming to this program, that itself is a very good sign that you get, your mind starts thinking about various aspects as you listen to various people. You have talked to your advisors, various forums, but then at somewhere you need to start. So when we, let me be frank, when we started Integra, whether we had the vision that now it's we've crossed 25 years, in fact, we've crossed 26 years, whether we knew we'll get here, if I were to be frank, we didn't. But I think you need to start somewhere and then keep moving on. You may not know all the answers, but you need, that is my been my experience. And also, I think initial years, it's going to be, you should be prepared. It's like having your baby, or it's like, for example, if I have to give an analogy, it is like growing a tree. So you, when it's still, the tree is still a small plant or a sapling, you need to fence it, you need to water it, you need to give proper nutrition to it before it grows into a tree where then the level of either the maintenance becomes much lesser. So that is a level of personal commitment you should be willing to give. It can't be delegated. It can't be that you do it part-time, though you can, some days when you can't, you will have to, I mean, that's the advantage of being an entrepreneur. When you're, for example, you have an emergency at home, you don't need to explain to someone. You can always take time off. I'm not talking about those situations, but if you really want to make your enterprise big, you need to give that kind of commitment. I remember the first few years, there were no holidays. Everything was revolving around Integra. And also as entrepreneurs, you need to understand the various aspects of business. Just many of you may have strength in one area. It may be mostly women are good in operations, but also on basics of selling, on basics of business development, marketing, cash flow, how you have to manage your cash flows. And though you can't be, and also in terms of managing people as you scale the company, though you may not be, you can't expect yourself to be an expert in all the areas, but wherever you feel there that you need help, my advice would be you should take the help of experts, advisors in that field. And always good to have a mentor who will be able to guide you, so that you don't need to make all the mistakes and learn yourself. There are people who have gone through this journey who will be able to guide you. So have a mentor whom you trust and whom you build a relationship. That's very important. I would also recommend, if wherever possible, have a partner, a like-minded individual. Otherwise, it can be lonely at the top. It really gives a lot of moral support when you have. Of course, they're both plus and minus, but you need to be careful. If you feel that you have a like-minded partner, I think you should work with them. And the support from family is very important whenever you are undertaking this. I think you need to have open discussion with your spouse, with your parents, whoever, your in-laws, whoever, and then because the support from family is very, very important. And I also always emphasize good support system for women. So if you try to do everything yourself, then there will be a big burnout factor. There will be a lot of stress. So you have to have important support systems and self-confidence. I think faith in yourself, as well as faith, for me, faith in the Almighty. I think all these things help me to have a positive outlook, because positivity and optimism, every day when you wake up, you need to feel excited about what you're doing, passionate, then the work becomes very enjoyable. So, and of course, don't get me the path is not going to be a bed of roses. There are going to be ups and downs. There will be setbacks, but each setback, I'm sure, with a strong mind and perseverance, it will get you to the next level. So you feel much more confident. And I also want all of you to remember that all the large companies have had humble beginnings. So they have started small, and that is how most of the companies have scaled up. So, and your mindset is your biggest, if how you have a positive mindset, that's your biggest asset. So keep yourself positive, keep yourself engaged, and continuously learn. I think that's very important. In fact, we keep telling at each stage you have to unlearn and learn. Sometimes what you did as a startup, what I did, I can't continue to operate the same way when the company goes to the next level. So those are important skills. So I also, yesterday Uma also asked me to touch upon the various other opportunities which I might have come across in e-publishing industry. For example, one important work which we also outsource is called copy editing. So for those of you who are very good in English language, so you can provide that service. You can have a group of freelancers and put systems in place to enroll freelancers, do the quality control, make sure you are delivering reliable services. Then there is a lot of work in editing, video editing, audio editing, and also for example, in medical transcription also, my advice would be that instead of going after those large clients, especially the clients abroad, of course the margins are much better. You should first focus on the domestic clients, or even be a service provider to one of the larger companies. learn the ropes, learn the skills, then you can always expand. And I think there were some interesting models the earlier speaker had put in terms of investment. So I think you can use the same principles for whichever idea you have got, and see what is the kind of investment SIDBI is there to help you. So make use of it. And in services industry in general, your investment is going to be your people cost, that's the raw material cost. And then you have the system costs, the infrastructure is mostly systems, software, and the connectivity kind of infrastructure. And once you have a few clients, I think, and you feel confident, then you need to invest in sales and take the business to the next level. And it's all about taking risks at the right time. So you need to take risks. Some will work out, some will may not, but I think there is tremendous learning in from each of the risks and each of the initiative which you take, investments which you make. And I generally wanted to, though I'm not a professional like the earlier speaker, she gave a very professional outlook on the various sectors. Only one thought I would like to make is, suppose you are a teacher, you can get into the education space, try to create education for the try to create content for the education market, do some game-based, innovative ways of education, game-based learning. You are an accountant, you can actually give back office support to various small firms which may not have in-house accounting departments. If you're a civil engineer, you can look at setting up a back office for architects. And if you are very creative and you are very involved, you love spending time in social media marketing is a very upcoming service which many companies need. How do you get your page on the top list when you do a Google search, or in Amazon, or in Facebook? So there are a lot of opportunities in social media as well. So, and also translation to various Indian languages. I think many of the companies look for that opportunity. So if you have any skill in that area, you can have a network of people who will with whom you can support translation to various local languages. So these are some thoughts which I thought I should share with you. So keep your mind open, keep looking for various opportunities, see what is coming up, and then I'm sure you will take the right decision. So my best wishes to all of you, and really appreciate COWE for putting this program together, which I think is very important for women. So all the best to all the women who are attending here. So that's from my side. I'm happy to take any questions if you have.